Three. All right, I'll start in three, three, two. Economic inequality is a problem in the United States, and it's only getting worse. You see, according to a study on wealth inequality in America, the top 10% now own over 3/4 of United States wealth, actually sitting at 77%. The middle class, the class that we once took pride in, now only owns 22% of the wealth. And the bottom 50%, which constitutes the majority of Americans, only own a measly 1%. While this disproportionate distribution alone is alarming, its effects on society are even worse. In his article, The Consequences of Economic Inequality, Nicholas Birdsong successfully linked an increase in economic inequality to an increase in crime and homelessness, and also a decrease in health and education. It's a problem that affects not just our wallets, but our well-being. And that's why I hope to propose a sustainable solution. My name is Peyton Deaver, and as a student at a top 40 business school, I've spent time studying economics and the role of government, businesses, and the society as a whole in enacting systemic change. You see, all three are needed to enact systemic change. And all three have actually tried in various ways to lessen economic inequality. Yet, as we've seen, the gap is only continuing to widen. You know, when the government tries to enact change through policies, either individuals with a lot of money or businesses themselves, which have a wide influence over the government, come in and only shut it down. But then you have businesses that are actually trying to enact change through something known as corporate social responsibility. But when these businesses try to enact change through that, it's not enough. Either all businesses need to collaborate on it and buy into corporate social responsibility, or society, who is ultimately the one that dictates consumer spending habits, well, they need to buy into it as well. And that actually brings me to society, because society is usually divided on how to change the problem of economic inequality, or it's just too focused on something else. You see, according to a Pew Research survey on America's view on economic inequality, 2/3 believe it's a problem, but only 42% say it's a top priority. You know, it is my belief that it will take a combination of all three, of government, of businesses, and of society, to solve economic inequality and the ever-increasing wage gap in America. I propose a governmental system of rewards and punishments that actually incentivize businesses to better distribute the wealth within their business, which I believe needs to happen through government, but will profit and benefit both businesses and society, you know, those members who are employees of the business. You see, public companies already have to submit data involving the salary expenses, so therefore also the wealth distribution within their company. With that, the government can calculate the mean and median of wealth distribution. Mean and median with greater deviation from one another indicates a company that has a big gap in wealth distribution, while lessening the mean and mean deviation means that you're also lessening the gap of wealth distribution. Annually, under my proposed system, annually, companies will have to lessen their own gap by at least a certain percentage more than the year before, depending on the industry, until they eventually reach a healthy gap. Now, I say a healthy gap because in a capitalistic society, a wealth gap is needed to encourage competition. So that way you still have employees on the bottom line striving for higher positions. And then those on the higher position, or those who have higher positions, are still getting paid more because they do more. Now, this healthy gap is nowhere close to being reflective of the current gap that we have, meaning it's something that we should still strive to. Now, the rewards to incentivize businesses to lessen the gap, to bring that mean and median closer to each other, is simple: tax breaks. It's one that we already use to encourage businesses to give to nonprofits and good causes. The punishments, though, I think there does need to be one, as there will be businesses that don't follow this. I believe the punishment should be proportional taxes that specifically target those in the company that are benefiting from this inequality of wealth distribution. So either they go after the rewards, or the punishment eventually incentivizes them to go after the rewards. But that brings me to the question that a lot of people will be thinking: is this plan practical? I mean, why target businesses and corporations? Well, I think the answer is simple. You see, businesses and corporations in a capitalistic society greatly reflect the wage gap. The Economic Policy Institute actually found that CEO pay has risen 940% since 1978, while the typical worker pay has only increased 12%. That's fairly reflective of the current gap that we see throughout America. Not only this, but about 58% of Americans have jobs, according to trading economics. Therefore, businesses not only correlate with the current wealth gap, but also have a wide influence over society. By targeting them and getting them to decrease the internal wealth gap within their company, we are bound to see the external societal wealth gap decrease as well. So society benefits, yes, but as I said earlier, whenever the government tries to enact change like this, businesses are able to shut it down. So what will make that not happen? I mean, do businesses benefit from this? I believe yes. You see, under my proposed system, the decision on how to close the internal gap is left to businesses. That way, they can decide a strategy that will both uplift their lower level employees, but still provide profit for the company, probably in better ways. You see, decreasing economic inequality actually does have economical advantages to profiting. Take the Henry Ford example. In his article about how businesses can make money from curbing economic inequality, Wallace Hoppe actually referenced this time when Henry Ford, all of us know him, increased worker pay by actually doubling it. And in doing so, he was able to profit because workers were, one, more incentivized and encouraged to stay with the company, but two, they were just more motivated to work. He didn't have to pay for that worker turnover. Or companies, in trying to curb and trying to lessen the gap within their company, companies can just create new jobs in the bottom line, which is not only going to lessen the gap and not only uplift those employees, but it's also going to stimulate the economy. And by giving people more jobs, they're going to be more likely to spend, which in turn benefits companies. The top 10%, the ones that I said own 77% of the wealth, well, they're the only ones who potentially suffer from my solution. But even still, they remain the top 10%. Like I said, there needs to be a healthy gap. And in a healthy gap, there are still those that make more than others. So these top 10%, well, they remain the wealthiest members of society. They're just brought down to a closer level as everyone else. So through my proposed system of rewards and punishments, though my proposed system of rewards and punishments has great potential of lessening the gap, it will take work and collaboration, both on part of the government, businesses, and society as a whole. In the end, however, we will have a better, happier society as a result. Thank you so much. And that is it. Jason, when you watch this, because I'll probably keep this part in. Thank you for a wonderful semester. I enjoyed it.